City of Tshwane budget process. Our budget is informed by the needs raised by communities and has taken into account the city's 10 strategic priorities in response to needs raised. Where does the city's revenue come from? The city's revenue comes from property rates, service charges on electricity, water, and sanitation, and refuse removal, which make up 80% of the revenue basket. The following are the city's revenue sources: service charges on electricity, service charges on water and sanitation, service charges on refuse removal, property rates, interest on outstanding debtors, interest earned on external investments, rental of fixed assets. Other revenue sources include financial transfers from national and provincial government, licenses and permits, fines, penalties, forfeits, and other revenue from the sale of goods and rendering of services. How does the city spend its operational budget? The city spends its operational budget on contracted services. These are services that cannot be rendered in-house, i.e., rudimentary services in informal settlements, security services for the city's assets, inventory consumed. This includes water purchases from Rand Water and other inventory, such as maintenance materials, stationery, consumables, etc. Eskom bulk purchases, finance cost, i.e., repayment of long-term loans, employee-related costs, operational transfers to cities' entities, operational expenditure. The biggest portion of the operating budget is for purchasing bulk water and electricity, which make up 40.3% of the total budget, followed by employee-related costs, which make up 28%. These are some of the operational programs that make up part of the budget. The expanded Public Works Program Initiative, Community Development, Education and Training, the Food Bank, Revenue Enhancement, Debt Collection, Prevention of Illegal Land Invasion, Asset Protection, Security Services. Secondly is the Economic Spatial Planning, which covers local economic development and SMME initiatives to support programs that drive local economic development cooperatives and trade and investment. Thirdly is Environment and Agriculture Management, which is responsible for the day-to-day household refuse removal and illegal dumping. Fourth is Health, which amongst others covers HIV/AIDS programs and drug and substance abuse. Fifth is Human Settlements, which aims to formalize informal settlements, as well as to supply them with mobile water tankers and chemical toilets. Sixth is Regional Operations and Coordination, which focuses on repairing and maintaining infrastructure and community facilities in all 7 regions of the city. Seventh is Roads and Transport, which covers the provision of public transport, such as the Tshwane bus service and the Arieng operations. Eighth is Utility Services, which is responsible for electricity reticulation, power stations, connections and disconnections, water purification works, wastewater purification, and reservoirs. The city also makes provision for the capital budget to fund major projects. These are what we refer to as CAPEX projects. Part of the city's budget makes provision for programs such as community library services, energy efficiency demand management, neighborhood development partnerships, public transport infrastructure systems, electricity and water losses, public lighting, rehabilitation and upgrading of roads, storm water management, construction of clinics, water and wastewater bulk infrastructure, extension of reservoirs, electricity new bulk infrastructure. It is important to note that the city's revenue basket takes into account the proposed tariff increments for the financial year. This is to ensure that every expenditure item included in the budget will be funded through the anticipated revenue to be generated. There are a number of factors affecting the tariff increases, which include inflation and bulk purchase costs from Rand Water and Eskom. Revenue generation is critical to the financial sustainability for the city, and tariffs play a major role in achieving desired levels of revenue. It is therefore important that all consumers of services honor their obligation towards the city in terms of payment of consumer accounts to ensure that the city is able to generate revenue to continue to render services.
We do form a quorum. Now we are continuing with the meeting. I'll request your divine attention, please. I won't start this meeting until you keep quiet. Councillors, may I have your attention? Thank you very much. Honorable Councillors, due notice was given of this special council meeting. We are a quorum and therefore I declare this meeting duly constituted. I trust that all councillors have signed the attendance register for this meeting. Kindly note that it is of critical importance that you sign the attendance register. If you do not sign the attendance register, you will be marked as absent from this meeting in the minutes. May we now begin with our council meeting, please. Can we please observe a moment of silence in prayer or meditation? Thank you very much. His Worship, the Executive Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, Honorable Chief Kekan and his entourage, Honorable Chief Mashangu and his entourage, members of the Mayoral Committee, Leader of the Executive Business, Chief Whip of Council, Chair of Chairs, Chairpersons of Section 79 committees, leaders of all political parties represented in Council, Honorable Councillors, distinguished guests, officials, members of the media, esteemed City of Tshwane residents, and the public. I heartily welcome to all of you to the Executive Mayor, City of Tshwane State of Capital Address. Honorable Councillors, for the duration of the Special Council meeting, I have granted the permission to Ms. Joanne Baker to be present in the Council chamber for the coordination of the teleprompter. Thank you. Nikhumbule into yoba isilungu andizalwanga naso. Bendinelungelo lokuyithetha ngeXhosa, but I decided to accommodate everybody. Thank you very much. Please inform that all councillors' application for leave of absence as approved by the Chief Whip of Council will be submitted to the Office of the Speaker directly for capturing in the minutes. So in other words, there will be no reading of leave of absence today by the Chief Whip. Honorable Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Executive Mayor, Councillor C. Brink, who will deliver the State of the Capital City Capital Address of 2024. Executive Mayor, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Chief Kekana and his entourage, Honourable Chief Mahlangu and his entourage, Chief Whip of Council, members of the Mayoral Committee, leaders of all the political parties represented in the Council, Honourable Aldermen and Councillors, distinguished guests, the City Manager, officials of the top management of the City, members of the media, and most importantly, our Tshwane residents. A very good morning to you all. Goeiemorgen, Sanibonani, Dumelang. I want to start by thanking the people of the capital city, the honest, hard-working people, from Hammanskraal to Olivenhout-Bosch, from Bronkhorstspruit to Atteridgeville, who pay their bills, who abide by the law, and who make their voices heard without violence, destruction, or harming other people. Thank you to the community organizations and the businesses who help us safeguard our parks, our rivers, our streets, who give their time and passion to improve the quality of life in the capital city. You are giving new meaning to the constitutional idea of participatory democracy. I look forward to strengthening our partnerships so that we can build a capital city that works for all of its people. Thank you to my fellow councillors, the best mayoral committee that any executive mayor can ask for. The ward councillors who have to face the anger and the frustration of communities, but who get up every day nonetheless to serve those people. Thank you to the members of the opposition who hold this administration to account, not through violence and disruption, but through the force of scrutiny and persuasion. I am more optimistic than I've ever been about the future of this capital city and this country. The optimism is not based on faith alone. This job has allowed me to appreciate just how much we as South Africans share a common set of values across differences of race, class, and place. We have a common purpose, and we have honest, hard-working people in the city who are willing to work to advance this purpose above their own personal or factional interests, and who have the courage to stand up and defend that common purpose against those who want to use government power to serve themselves. I fully appreciate that many will not share my optimism, especially residents who live in poverty and destitution, and those who feel they have been manipulated by politicians. To them I say, we as the multi-party coalition in Tshwane are working every day to win back your trust and to fix what has been broken. But I also appreciate that what we do will be far more convincing than what I can say. In the last year, we've installed a new top management team in the city whose job it is to change the organizational culture from one that serves individuals and factional interests to one that drives performance and integrity in the best interest of the city as a whole. What I mean by culture is a shared sense of what is important, what is urgent, and what is right and what is wrong. Last year I said that you cannot change the leadership, you can't change the culture of an organization if you don't change its leadership. There's very little chances of changing the culture. And without a change of culture, you won't be able to improve performance. As the saying goes, when culture and strategy comes up against each other, culture always wins. So it pays to pay attention to culture. Our organization's culture is shaped one decision at a time. These decisions are usually taken under pressure. The underlying test is the following. Do I do what is right, or do I do what is expedient? And if I do what is right, can I live with the consequences? If this test is passed often enough, culture starts to change for the better. And after a certain period of time, culture starts to drive performance and integrity. When people see that right conduct is rewarded, that wrong conduct is punished, it inspires a commitment, personal sacrifice, a sense of service, and a dedication to excellence. If we want this municipality to play a meaningful developmental role in the lives of its people, to change the lives of the poor in particular, to unlock opportunities, then a change of culture is non-negotiable. For the 2023 financial year, our audit outcome has improved from adverse to qualified. 2 of the 3 adverse findings identified by the AG have been cleared, namely cash flow and creditors. This year, we will clear the last remaining adverse finding related to property, plant, and equipment, and I'm confident that we will achieve an unqualified audit in this year. Of course, our financial rescue is far from complete. A great deal of work still needs to be done, and the stakes cannot be higher. A funding plan that accompanies the budget, currently out for public participation, sets out in detail how we intend to increase the income of the municipality and decrease distribution losses. According to Ratings Africa, the city of Tshwane achieved the best improvement on financial sustainability of all the metros in 2023. We implemented a budget funding plan that included difficult but necessary decisions, even though, and this includes foregoing salary increases, even though this unleashed the most violent, unprotected strike in the city's history, including unprecedented levels of violence and criminality directed against the city, its employees, and our residents, we stood our ground, and the ground did not subside under our feet. Also, in line with the funding plan, we have taken the first steps on energy independence and a new private operating model for Wonderboom Airport. We're now in a stronger position to produce a far more detailed funding plan, including measures to reduce contracted services and far more specific plans to reduce distribution losses. And because we made the right decisions in this financial year, as you will see in the budget, we are proposing to pay salary increases in the next financial year. Our financial rescue mission is at the heart of improving service delivery. Our books must balance, and we must generate a surplus from trading services. If we don't reach this point, we will not be able to generate savings and borrowings to build water, electricity, and sewage services. Following the less than satisfactory result the in-year financial report, the Mayoral Committee adopted a financial rescue charter. It is an agreement between the executive and the top management of the city, setting out a number of immediate steps that have to be taken to rebuild the tax administration capacity of the city and to ensure that we have cost-reflective property rates and tariffs. A project management office is being established to take control of each aspect of the city's revenue value chain. This includes the rollout of smart prepaid meters, the dispatch of bills, the speedy resolution of billing disputes, credit control and debt collection measures, such as issuing summons against large consumers who refuse to make payment arrangements. Our city has got one of the most generous baskets of free basic services to the poor in the entire country. Beyond that basket of free basic services, people must pay for the services that they use. This is what Tshwane Yatima is all about. The first message of Tshwane Yatima is thank you to those who pay their bills, who pay for what they use. The second message is to invite consumers who are in arrears to come and make an arrangement with the municipality. The third message is that we will cut off services if consumers do not pay. We are targeting all debtors, residents, businesses, and state entities. Furthermore, we will impose harsh penalties in cases of illegal connections. Just last week, the city pressed criminal charges against 2 residents in Garsfontein who illegally reconnected their electricity after Tshwane Yatima teams cut them off. The message is clear. We will not tolerate illegal connections, and you will be arrested. There is an impression, colleagues, that most, if not all of the people who owe money to the city are poor and unable to pay. Having seen the geographical spread of our debtors book, I can confirm this is not the case. There are folks who are relatively well off, who can afford to pay, who've got no dispute with the municipality, but who prefer to pay other bills other than that generated by the municipality. This is going to end. If you can pay your DSTV or installments on a luxury vehicle, you can also pay for the water and electricity that is metered and that you use. In saying so, I'm not speaking on behalf of government and the municipality as much as on behalf of the 6 out of 10 account holders in our city who do pay their bills on time. As part of the work to rebuild the city's tax administration capacity, we aim to collect in the next few months 6 billion of the 23.3 billion rand debtors book. With a new CFO, a project management office dedicated to the city's revenue value chain, and various management changes in revenue, as well as electricity, our financial rescue team is now stronger than it has ever been. The Mayoral Committee will double down on the audit action plan, and using the accountability mechanisms we've already established, including a tracking committee and a consequence management committee, we will keep pressure on the city's top management to strengthen systems and controls. Our aim is not just to fix what the AG has already identified, but to fix problems proactively, even before the AG can identify them. Following this approach, we might uncover even more irregular expenditure. But that is what happens if you follow an approach of clearing out instead of papering over. We will complete a cost of electricity supply study so that we can recommend to the City Council in the next financial year a restructured tariff that takes into account the seasonal tariffs charged by Eskom. The City will also be ready to implement a new property valuation role as of 2025. The current role is outdated. Let me make this clear. Our aim is for cost-reflective rates and tariffs. Essential to this is getting better value for money from our tender system. We can't just say cost-reflective tariffs. We have to actively manage those costs down, because we know that South Africans have suffered from an immense cost of living crisis, and we must do everything in our power to make sure that our costs are reasonable. Our supply chain management policy has already been simplified in line with the review of the national procurement regulations. Unfortunately, we still have to abide by national legislation that makes it incredibly difficult to get value for money out of our tender system. But as far as it is in our power, we will maximize value for money. We will maximize the appointment of contractors who have the ability to get things done. As I've said, the city of Tshwane has one of the most generous offers of packages of free basic services to the poorest of the poor. This offer includes 100 kilowatt hours of electricity per month and 12 kiloliters of water per month, as well as a weekly waste collection service. National Treasury has recommended to us that we reduce this offer to ease the financial distress in which the city is, given that our offer is much higher than the national average. Now, National Treasury is an important partner of the city in our financial rescue mission. We value their advice and their support, but after careful investigation, the Mayoral Committee's advice to the City Council is to maintain our offer to the poorest of the poor. It is not the size of this POP offer that is the problem. It is that when the allocation is exceeded by households, the city's credit control is inadequate. If we can implement adequate credit control, we can sustain this generous POP offer and reduce levels of non-payment. On the other hand, if we simply reduce the POP allowance and we don't do effective credit control, our debtors book will simply continue to balloon. Improving credit control will necessarily involve the rollout of smart prepaid meters that will assist consumers with consumption. We will also be doing an audit of the indigent register to ensure that those who are benefiting from our poorest of the poor allocation, in fact, should benefit from it, are entitled to benefit from it. As I've said, the time has come when we can no longer avoid a confrontation with people who connect illegally to our water and electricity grid. An illegal connection is a criminal act. It facilitates theft and it destroys our infrastructure. Often illegal connections follow breaches of the law, including land grabs and large-scale shack farming. During the COVID-19 lockdown, land grabs proliferated across the country, and the city of Tshwane was no exception. Lockdown regulations made it very difficult to obtain evictions at a time when municipal land was particularly vulnerable to illegal occupation. As a result, we have entire communities that have been established on service sites, including reservoirs, in particular in Mamelodi, Mabopane, and Ga-Rankuwa. Illegal connections have been made to these reservoirs, depleting water levels and causing the taps of paying consumers in these communities to run dry. Eviction law makes it incredibly difficult for the municipality to act against this particular form of criminality, but we will act, even if it takes longer than people demand. The argument that if we simply provide metered services to consumers who connect to electricity and water illegally, then they'll suddenly start paying, is wrong for two reasons. First, once normalized, a culture of non-payment doesn't easily turn into a culture of payment. Secondly, even if we were to spend our entire allocation for upgrading informal settlements, which we must, it will not be enough to turn each and every informal settlement into a paying community beyond the basket of free basic services. The city, like many other municipalities, now pays more to provide rudimentary services to informal settlements than we do on pipe replacements. This scenario is not sustainable, and so we'll be revising our informal settlements policy to ensure that we're not inadvertently incentivizing land grabs and the illegal connection to services. People who live in informal settlements come to our city in hope of better life prospects, and we must do everything in our power to help give services and dignity, opportunities to these residents. But again, it must happen in a sustainable manner. Also, we cannot allow criminal syndicates to occupy land and then to charge illegal rents from vulnerable people. One area in which the city has not achieved success is in reducing water distribution losses. And we've got to admit when we don't succeed. Pipe replacement projects have continued, but pipe replacement projects are not enough. We need an entirely new system of detecting and fixing leaks in the medium to long term. And further on, we need a new funding model for large infrastructure projects. We already have the raw intellectual material, the support from partners such as the Danish government and our sister city of Aarhus, along with the city support program at National Treasury. The challenge is to turn these ideas into policy changes and to build a pipeline of feasible projects that we can start rolling out to reduce distribution losses. To improve service delivery, following the prolonged strike, we introduced the Mayoral Urban Management Plan in November of last year. The plan concentrates proactive maintenance along the major routes in our city and focuses on public spaces and parks, key buildings and cemeteries. Since the inception of this plan, we've been very focused in cleaning and repairing our city by doing the following: grass cutting and neatening public spaces, cemeteries, parks, road reserves, areas that you as the public have told us we must clean and we must do a better job. More than 12,000 potholes have been repaired, with an additional 6,000 targeted before the end of June. Various interventions were deployed, including the pruning of trees, repairing equipment, and proactive maintenance on electricity lines to reduce service interruptions. While service delivery is not where it should be, the Urban Management Plan has proved to be effective, and we will continue to use it to improve services experienced by our residents. Our immediate plans under this model include the following: extensively resurfacing parts of the roads in Attridgeville and Mamelodi, repairs to the Bonaccord asphalt plant, which are in progress and should help us procure in-house asphalt for road repairs. We have a partnership with Santam for CBD streetlights to be repaired before the end of this financial year. Critically, we continue to strive towards two key goals in respect of electricity and water. We want to restore 90% of outages within 7.5 hours and 90% of water leaks within 48 hours. I fully understand that's not where we should be, but that's where we're working to achieve. We've taken the first steps to achieve 1,000 megawatts of energy independence from Eskom by 2026. In January, this council approved the report giving permission to proceed with a 40-year lease of the Rooiwal and Pretoria West power stations, and the public responded with overwhelming support. In addition to our plans around the power stations, we also put out a request for information on alternative clean energy solutions, and that was issued in December last year. This is aimed at soliciting information on moving to cleaner energy technology, as well as procuring additional electricity from IPPs. We received 39 bids, and the next step would be to evaluate these bids. This is major progress for the city towards energy independence, and we are now well set on this direction. Taking hands with national government across party political divides, we've made significant progress in restoring clean water to the people of Hammanskraal. Last year, I described the state of the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant as a stain on the conscience of the city. In the past year, contrition was followed by action. The partnership that the city has built with the Minister of Water has been decisive. We have set aside our lesser differences to focus on the people we serve in common. The DBSA has been appointed as an implementing agent to upgrade Rooiwal in the next 2 years. We've allocated the maximum possible budget to this project. In the meantime, the Department of Water has made significant progress towards the construction of a package plant on the Magalies water line. This package plant, if it is completed, will allow the people of Hammanskraal to get clean water through the taps. The Deputy Mayor and the MNC, Themba Fosi, have met with the ward councillors of Hammanskraal to discuss what steps are needed next. As the package plant is being built, the city is conducting an audit of water meters in the affected area, and once clean water starts flowing to people's taps, the city will be obliged to pay Magalies Water for this supply. And therefore, consumers will have to pay beyond that free allocation of 12 kilolitres of free basic services. And that is very important. Already we're making progress with our metering audit and anticipate that once the plant is operational, it will make a fundamental difference to the lives of the people of Hammanskraal. We know people want water from taps. People do not want water from tankers. And that is what we aim to do. We've established 17 community upliftment precincts in this year and concluded partnership agreements with several organizations and civil society. This is in line with our whole of society approach, to take hands with communities to do together what we know we cannot do alone. Fixing potholes, cutting grass, repairing street lights. If communities help the city to do these things, there is no abdication of responsibility by the state. Community partnerships cannot replace a fraction of what we do on a daily basis as a municipality, but they can foster a sense of responsibility, of ownership, of contribution. Community partnerships are a form of participatory democracy, a way of accepting the reality that government doesn't always know best, and that we can take hands with communities to improve the quality of life in the city. We believe this will give communities an enormous stake in the success of the city as a whole. Our electricity and water infrastructure remains the bedrock of service delivery to residents, and it is critically important that we invest in the maintenance and upgrade of this infrastructure. We've made progress in the electricity projects announced last year, the upgrading of Kentron substation, that will be complete by May. Pyramid substation refurbishment site handover happened in March. The refurbishment of Wapatrand panels is scheduled for June of this year. But let me make this clear, and this is specific to the events that have happened in the city. Electricity substations are not meant to burn down. According to the most basic of engineering standards, each substation must have protection equipment that shuts down the electricity supply to those substations if a fire risk occurs. I am as frustrated and angry as residents about the numerous substation fires that we have had to endure. The time when we simply ask people for their patience while we fix things and then wait for the next fire, that time is over. I've told the city manager, and MMC Fosi is on board as well, that every substation fire must be treated as an extreme exception, requiring a full investigation. If someone's negligent conduct or willful conduct led the city not to take measures that could have saved us money, millions in repairs, that person must be held accountable. Moving to water projects, I've already mentioned Hammanskraal, and in total the city will be allocating 450 million rand towards the upgrade of this water treatment plant in the next few years. 150 million of this first allocation is in the process of being paid to the implementing agent DBSA, although, as I've mentioned, site has already been handed over and good progress is being achieved. Other crucial initiatives for the enhancement and maintenance of water and sanitation infrastructure in the city include replacement, upgrade, and construction of wastewater facilities of 92 million rand, replacement of worn-out network pipes, 66 million rand, reservoir expansions, 65 million rand. While we are working within severely constrained and limited budgets, we are working to optimize, to do as much as we can with the little that we have until we fix that situation. In partnership with national government, we completed the Townlands development in Marabastad, finally after many years. Social housing initiatives like Townlands allow people to live close to work opportunities in the inner city in a safe and pleasant environment. Townlands Social Housing Project is a multi-million rand development that includes 1,200 units of various sizes, including modern amenities such as a community hall, a football pitch, netball and volleyball fields, an outdoor gym, and facilities. The housing project offers decent and dignified subsidized rental housing in the inner city with access to transport, business, and work opportunities. Last week, I visited Townlands and I met a very happy resident. Her name is Salina Majola. She previously lived in an informal settlement. And now, because of Townlands, she lives close to the inner city, close to work, in a safe place. And that is the indication of how this city cares for the poor and for social mobility. MMC Offense Mazebetela, we will be working on 3 additional social housing developments for residents. Chantal Housing Project in the north of Pretoria, over 1,000 units. Timberland Housing Project in Arcadia and Sunnyside, we're beginning the planning of that. The city has long prioritized town.
Sorry, Executive Mayor. Councillors, may we please be in order? Order, Councillor. Order, Councillor. Order, Councillor Masilela. Order. Order. Order, Councillor Masilela. Councillor Masilela, order, please. Order. Order. Councillors. Councillor Ngobeni, please take your seat. Take your seat. Councillor Ngobeni, take your seat. Councillor, take your seat. Take your seat. Take your seat. Councillor Ziga. Councillor Ziga. If you have, listen. If you have a problem with the speech, next week there is a debate. So save your energy for the debate. Let's allow the executive mayor. Councillor Ngobeni, take your seat. I can hear you loud and clear while you are sitting. I can hear loud and clear while you are sitting down. So please, Councillor Ngobeni, I can't be calling you again. I'm not talking to you. I'm absolutely not talking to you. Councillors, please, Councillor Masilela, no, don't assist me. I don't need it. Thank you very much. Can we allow the executive mayor to continue? Councillor, if the executive mayor is lying, you've got a debate next week. So can you save that energy for that? Councillor Ngobeni, I'm not interested. Thank you so much. Executive Mayor.
We will carry on building dignified housing opportunities for the people of the capital city. Having a safe and...
Councillor, I'm not taking that. Can we allow the executive mayor to finish? You've got time to debate on this next week. Councillor, please. Can we allow the mayor to continue? I'm not taking that, Councillor. I'm not. Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Speaker. Having a safe and caring city is critical if we are to attract investment and business opportunities to the city. It's equally important that residents feel safe in the place that they call their home. To achieve this, the Tshwane Metro Police will form part of the city's urban management plan and will be deployed according to operational plans along those critical routes in our city that reflect this is the city of Tshwane. Under the leadership of the new TMPD Commissioner and MMC Grandi Tienerson, we are taking a zero-tolerance approach to corrupt Metro cops. Over the past year, we have forged a strong relationship between the TMPD and the Labour Relations Unit of the city. This has been critical in launching disciplinary cases against officers who have engaged in corrupt activities. Multiple cases are in progress and a number of dismissals have already been made. Criminals who masquerade as police officers have no place in the city, and I want to add that the majority of TMPD officers are honest, hard-working people and will not allow a small group of bad officers to reflect badly on the name of those officers. In our efforts to fight drunk driving and to make the road safer, TMPD has introduced the use of a new alcohol testing bus. The bus is a multi-purpose vehicle. It functions as a mobile testing center. There's a camera to see what's happening there, and it can also be used to check on outstanding traffic fines. The alcohol testing is a game changer to make our roads safer and to prevent drunk drivers from putting people's lives at risk. TMPD's mobile vehicle testing stations are once again operational, conducting on-the-go vehicle inspections and enhancing public safety on our roads. Mobile vehicle testing stations are a vital initiative aimed at promoting road safety and ensuring compliance with traffic laws. Our Emergency Services Department continues to be a source of hope and excellence for the communities in times of need. Our teams are first to arrive at the scene of an accident and to give a helping hand. For the present financial year, our ESD teams responded to more than 2,000 fire incidents in the city and received 8,400 calls. We will continue to answer more calls and to assist our Emergency Service Department with the necessary tools of trade to do their work. This year, I've tried to visit as many local businesses owned by young people in our city as possible to give them support and exposure. I've been to Spatlo Palais, I've been to Embedded Clothing Store here in the inner city, as well as Wing Republic. It's important that we support businesses that bring investment to our inner city, and most importantly, that provide work opportunities for young people. When I see these places and I visit them and I meet the young people, I've got renewed hope for the future of the city. As part of our public works program, we have created more than 20,000 work opportunities this year. Furthermore, through the public employment program of the city, we've created an additional 7,400 work opportunities. These beneficiaries will be placed in various projects and have been placed in various projects and programs of the city. Colleagues, as you know, last year, Council gave permission for us to use our EPWP program to enhance the skills of trained artisans, the people who work on the front line of service delivery. 71 young people were trained and fully accredited at the Tshwane Leadership and Management Academy. Their training ranges from electrical work, vehicle mechanical repairs, welding, fitting and turning, boiler making and plumbing. These young people are now working as interns in the city. I've asked MMC Kingsley Wakeland to see what policy reforms we can consider so that when these young people are finished with their internship, that they are not lost to the city. We must give them some kind of a pathway of employment in the city. It doesn't help that we spend all of these resources on growing our own talent only to lose them to the private sector. And so it is important that we make changes, policy changes in this area. Big development is happening in the city, and that's good because it is a vote of confidence in the future of the city. 2 blocks from here, the Reserve Bank is investing billions to create a new financial precinct, not in Sandton, but in the CBD of Pretoria. Then there's the Salvukop precinct and the Justice College across the road. Big private development is also happening, and that is also a vote of confidence in the city. The investment of these developers help us to build roads, stormwater, and other infrastructure, which, because our constrained financial position, we couldn't do and can't do at present ourselves. We need big development, but we also need to make it easier for smaller development in our city. I do not believe that the city is as business-friendly as it can be to the business community. In my engagements, in the engagement that MMC Hannes Kutsia and I have had with developers, architects, and other professionals, they've continued to express their frustration at the slow pace and the slow progress of engagements with the city, whether it be land use applications or building plans. This is why we are making sure that we will be recruiting a sufficient number of planners, because we know that is part of where the blockage is. These professionals perform a core task in our city, and we require them to restore that relationship with the business community, to make it easy to build and employ people in our city. The Tshwane Automotive Special Economic Zone is doing extraordinary work and is a shining example of how different spheres of government can work together to drive development and investment, and we look forward to the potential spin-offs from that economic zone. Speaker, it is just as important to reflect, as important as it is to reflect on successes and progress, it is also important to be honest about areas where we failed, as I've already said. We have not succeeded in securing our service infrastructure against criminal attack, but we have learned a number of key lessons. The current system of appointing expensive security contractors to guard our assets does not work. Very often, these companies have got no security footprint in the communities where we have assets to be guarded. There's no cooperation with local CPFs and local security structures. Often, the city and the security companies we appoint are blind to what is actually happening around the substations and the reservoirs and other important service installations. This creates a security gap in which criminals are thriving. We need to close that gap, and we need to deploy technology, including cameras, as well as motion detection technology, which have now become remarkably commonplace and affordable. But technology is not enough. We also need the capability for rapid deployment of armed response. We have not succeeded in improving public lighting. In fact, in parts of our city, it is now darker than it was before. Now, for too long, we've expected electricity teams who attend to outages and do repairs and maintenance on our electricity network to also do the work on public lighting. As the pressure caused by load shedding, cable theft, and vandalism have escalated, so fewer and fewer people and resources have been dedicated to street lights and Apollo lights. And so we will establish a separate section inside the municipality with its own personnel and its own resources dedicated to fixing street lights and Apollo lights. Public lighting is important enough to be someone's full-time job. But we've also discovered that parts of our public lighting network are particularly vulnerable to faults as well as very high maintenance. And so, as we will propose in the budget for next year, we will dedicate 30% of our public lighting budget to the rollout of solar-powered streetlights. Whatever technology is sourced will be tested properly first, and we look forward to potential partnerships with private companies and communities to make sure we roll out these solar-powered streetlights as fast as possible. The implementation of the SAP S/4HANA system in the city, and this is the management system, resource management system, has caused significant delay in various aspects of the city's operation. The implementation of this new ICT system must be done and finalized in a way that doesn't cause disruption. SAP S/4HANA has incredible potential for the city, and we can significantly improve our compliance with the AG, creating audit trails, making sure that fraud and corruption doesn't happen. So we must make the most of the system. Speaker, when I took office, I spoke about the need to change the work culture of the city, and it's a theme and a project that continues. I'm always pleased to acknowledge those in our city who've gone the extra mile in ensuring that the city can carry out its mandate. One such individual is Veronica Maredi. She's an artisan in roads and transport in Region 2. Not only does she work in a male-dominated environment, but no job is too big or too difficult for her. She goes beyond the call of duty with limited resources to ensure that all of our customer complaints in roads maintenance get answered and that there is a satisfactory response. We also have Daddy Chauke, a chief engineer from Energy Watlu Depot. We continuously, yes, Councillor, indeed, we continuously receive positive feedback from councillors regarding his services. He's always available and willing to help. Another is Ben de Toy in Region 4, who gives exemplary service even in the most difficult and disruptive of circumstances. Another colleague doing excellent work is Lesiba Tupudi, who assists with all manner of billing queries. Lesiba is responsive, always providing feedback, and has an extremely high resolution rate to billing queries and complaints. Then we have to move on to those that we have employed, Councillor, and that includes Gareth Nisi, our new Chief Financial Officer. He has worked extremely hard to achieve our improved audit outcome. Also, our new Chief of Police, Commissioner Yolanda Faro. Anyone who has done inspection of where the TMPD works, roadblocks, will know that the culture is changing. It might be a slow change, but it is changing. I want to thank all of these colleagues, these committed people, and I know that there are many more employees who I should mention. I want to ask, please continue the excellent work that you do. You're not just employees of the city, you're also residents. And so we value your contribution. I already did that, Councillor. In the coming weeks, the city will go through a national election which could well lead to significant changes of the political environment. I want to indicate that while all of this is happening, our team in Tshwane will be fully committed to water, electricity, sewage, and the basics of local government. The question of the effectiveness of coalitions will no doubt be raised. In Tshwane, we have shown that in the face of extremely difficult circumstances, we can continue to work together, continue to build. I am not complacent for a single second about this, but I am confident in the stability that we have been able to achieve in the city, and I'm committed to working with colleagues, including the opposition, to demonstrate that coalitions can in fact work, and maybe, just maybe, we can provide a model for that for Gauteng and the rest of the country. As a coalition, it is our intention to do exactly that and to serve our residents as best we can. We have to build a capital city that works for all of its people. A capital city that gives hope and optimism for the future, that convinces people that instead of leaving this country or investing their money elsewhere, they must stay here, they must invest here, they must build here. We have to build this city together. Arye Achain, let us build a capital city that works for all of its people. Thank you very much.
Dumelang badudi ba Tshwane, a bolelang ke Councillor Themba Fosi, the MMC responsible for utilities and regional operations. After re fetsa ho ba le a progress report ya the installation ya package plant go Magaliesi for provider batho ba rena ba Hammanskraal ka metsi, the city has taken a position of going back to our communities and do meter audits. What is meter audits? Go check hore meter ona le ngwana o bitsa ka wena, meter ona le ngwana awasenyeha, or meter ona you won't have queries study billing if in case usenyehile. And usenyehile, we will be running a project installation those meters. That project will run up until September the 30th. Rirela hore by the time the package plant ever ready ho supply metsi to Hammanskraal to a certain portion ya batho, then batho ba rena they would be able to have proper metered devices they can be able to start paying the rates therein. So I request the communities therein in the Hammanskraal area to allow batho ba rena ba audits hore ba check. At this point in time, primarily ba tlo thoma ka checka di metara tsa ka montle pele. Once the meters they are properly audited, then only can they come back go di jarateng ke khopela le embrace batho le thuse ko le ka thusang ko teng, so that we can make sure the issue ya Hammanskraal and the provision of water comes to fruition and batho ba rena ba kra metsi as best as we can. Thank you.
Councillors, take your seats. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Thank you so much. Councillor, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. May you please take a seat. Councillors, please take your seats. You will have an opportunity to raise your concerns. Please take your seats. The opportunity, councillors, the opportunity will be provided to you to raise your concerns, to raise your questions. It is not that time. May you, Councillor Tsila. Near me. Where's the hand? No, you know what, Council? I'm going to allow you to speak. But next time, don't speak if I didn't allow you. Don't press, Councillor, wait. Don't press the mic if I didn't recognize you next time. You mustn't do that. Okay, you may speak. Wait, Councillor. Well, and I'm chairing the meeting, so don't assist me. Thank you. No, don't. Let's not have this. Councillors, okay, I'll only take your two hands. Then we are done. Speak, Councillor.
Speaker, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sure we're all aware that your office has rolled out programs of IDPs And we happened to have one in our ward yesterday. And the MMC deployed there could not come because apparently was sick.
Sorry, Councillor, that is not relevant on this. No. You know, when you have a complaint about the IDP for the MMCs and officials who has not turned up, you've got the office of the Speaker to put your complaint in. Today is the speech which is delivered by the Executive Mayor, and we are, wait, councillors are speaking. If you follow the rules, it says when the Speaker is speaking, you don't speak. So I'm not going to, wait, Councillor, I'm not going to allow the issue of IDP here. Anything that is not in my agenda, we are not allowing it. Then if you've got a problem that to raise, go to the office of the Speaker and raise that.
Speaker, but you are here. Your office is...
No, Councillor. Thank you very much. If you want me to cut you off the meeting, I'm not here for ITP. No, you rather tell me or not. I'm not here for ITP. Councillor Tsila, I'm not allowing to speak. Councillor, there's no media that is going to get anything here. I'm saying to you, the agenda item. Okay, thank you very much. I'm not taking any hands anymore. The agenda is here because I allow you to speak. Wait, councillors, I allow you to speak. Then the rest of your colleagues are speaking. So, no, wait, I did not recognize you. Then those are the two hands at the back. So, no, councillor, there are two hands at the back. I'm not taking, you can call it that way. I'm not taking other hands. I've got only two hands at the back. And please, allow those people to speak. Because if you speak before they speak, I'll cut them off. Councillor, I've got two hands at the back, and I'm not taking another hand. Believe me. Councillor, quickly, but please don't mention the ITP issue here. If you've got nothing else to say, don't say it. But we are not speaking about ITP here. You've got platforms for ITP. If there is nothing else, continue. I'm giving you 2 minutes. Councillors, can you allow me to chair? Thank you. You may speak, Councillor.
Oh, thank you very much, Speaker. In fact, I'm calling you to order because you are not fair. As Dinzolo left the podium there, the other Dinzolos were clapping hands and singing. We never had a problem with that. And when other Dinzolos this side also singing. No. He mentioned many Dinzolos were clapping hands because actually augmented.
Tell me, Councillor, please. MMC. It doesn't matter, no one rule. Allow me to respond to them. You are not a speaker, you are an MMC. You've got your own platform to respond. This is my platform to respond. MMC, I'm not going to call your name again. Thank you. Councillor, finish what you are saying.
Oh, thank you very much, Speaker, for being decisive. I'm saying you gave them chance to sing and celebrate and nothing when Dinzolo left the podium. But when it happens on this side of the right, you called us to order and quickly refrain from what we are doing. I'm saying on the point of fairness, please next time allow us that space so that we can be able to exercise our own rights as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's move on. Honorable councillors and distinguished guests, let me thank the Mayor for the this speech address, for this address. The debate on this state of the capital address will take place during the council meeting on the 25th of April 2024. Members of the public are welcome to attend, which is next week, Thursday. Before we attend this meeting, I would like to make the following announcements. Kindly note that the speech of the Executive Mayor can be hereafter be accessed from the City of Tshwane intranet and its website. Announcement number 2. The City of Tshwane Ward Committee nominations are now open. I call upon all councillors to encourage their representative wards and also constituencies to please partake in this very important process. Ward committees are the pillar of the society. They play a crucial role and help to forge the relationship between the municipality and its residents. Most importantly, ward committees will help residents hold those trusted with the delivering of services accountable. Nomination forms can be accessed and submitted both online on the City of Tshwane official website, www.tshwane.gov.za, or in person at the Tshwane Regional Office or at the 47 wide drop-off centers. Councillor, what's the point of order? What are you standing for?
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. But you suppressed me while I was speaking about IDPs and what committees are not part.
Councillor, I'm making announcements here. I'm not debating. No, I'm not going to allow you. I'm not making announcement. Keep it, you can say I'm not fair. I'm making announcement because in your wards, these nominations are not taking place. So we need to encourage people. And if, Councillor, can you learn, Councillor, to obey? Councillor. Why must I call you several times? Thank you. I'm continuing with my announcements. Sit down, Councillor Ngoben. Sit down then, Councillor. You don't need, sit down. Thank you. All councillors, senior officials, council, administrative staff members of the media, and the relevant service providers must kindly remain seated to allow the Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, the member of the Mayoral Committee, traditional leaders, councillors, and also distinguished guests to exit the council. Councillors and the distinguished guests, I thank you for attending this special council meeting. This meeting is now concluded and adjourned. Thank you. May I please have all my guests?
Dumelang badudi ba Tshwane, a bolelang ke Councillor Themba Fosi, the MMC responsible for utilities and regional operations. After re fetsa ho ba le a progress report ya the installation ya package plant go Magaliesi for provider batho ba rena ba Hammanskraal ka metsi, the city has taken a position of going back to our communities and do meter audits. What is meter audits? Go check hore meter ona le ngwana o bitsa ka wena, meter ona le ngwana awa senyeha, or meter ona you won't have queries study billing if in case o senyehile. And au senyehile, we will be running a project installation those meters. That project will run up until September the 30th. Rirela hore by the time the package plant ever ready ho supply metsi to Hammanskraal to a certain portion ya batho, then batho ba rena they would be able to have proper metered devices they can be able to start paying the rates therein. So I request the communities therein in the Hammanskraal area to allow batho ba rena ba audits hore ba check. At this point in time, primarily ba tlo thoma ka checka di metara tsa ka montle pele. Once the meters they are properly audited, then only can they come back go di jarateng ke kopela le embrace batho le thuse ko le ka thusang ko teng, so that we can make sure the issue ya Hammanskraal and the provision of water comes to fruition and batho ba rena ba kra metsi as best as we can. Thank you.
City of Tshwane budget process. Our budget is informed by the needs raised by communities and has taken into account the city's 10 strategic priorities in response to needs raised. Where does the city's revenue come from? The city's revenue comes from property rates, service charges on electricity, water, and sanitation, and refuse removal, which make up 80% of the revenue basket. The following are the city's revenue sources: service charges on electricity, service charges on water and sanitation, service charges on refuse removal, property rates, interest on outstanding debtors, interest earned on external investments, rental of fixed assets. Other revenue sources include financial transfers from national and provincial government, licenses and permits, fines, penalties, forfeits, and other revenue from the sale of goods and rendering of services. How does the city spend its operational budget? The city spends its operational budget on contracted services. These are services that cannot be rendered in-house, i.e., rudimentary services in informal settlements, security services for the city's assets, inventory consumed. This includes water purchases from Rand Water and other inventory, such as maintenance materials, stationery, consumables, etc. Eskom bulk purchases, finance cost, i.e., repayment of long-term loans, employee-related costs, operational transfers to cities' entities, operational expenditure. The biggest portion of the operating budget is for purchasing bulk water and electricity, which make up 40.3% of the total budget, followed by employee-related costs, which make up 28%. These are some of the operational programs that make up part of the budget. The expanded Public Works Program Initiative community development, education and training, the food bank, revenue enhancement, debt collection, prevention of illegal land invasion, asset protection, security services. Secondly is the economic spatial planning, which covers local economic development and SMME initiatives to support programs that drive local economic development cooperatives and trade and investment. Thirdly is environment and agriculture management, which is responsible for the day-to-day household refuse removal and illegal dumping. Fourth is health, which amongst others covers HIV/AIDS programs and drug and substance abuse. Fifth is human settlements, which aims to formalize informal settlements, as well as to supply them with mobile water tankers and chemical toilets. Sixth is regional operations and coordination, which focuses on repairing and maintaining infrastructure and community facilities in all 7 regions of the city. Seventh is roads and transport, which covers the provision of public transport, such as the Tshwane bus service and the Arieng operations. Eighth is utility services, which is responsible for electricity reticulation, power stations, connections and disconnections, water purification works, wastewater purification, and reservoirs. The city also makes provision for the capital budget to fund major projects. These are what we refer to as CAPEX projects. Part of the city's budget makes provision for programs such as community library services, energy efficiency demand management, neighborhood development partnerships, public transport infrastructure systems, electricity and water losses, public lighting, rehabilitation and upgrading of roads, storm water management, construction of clinics, water and wastewater bulk infrastructure, extension of reservoirs, electricity new bulk infrastructure. It is important to note that the city's revenue basket takes into account the proposed tariff increments for the financial year. This is to ensure that every expenditure item included in the budget will be funded through the anticipated revenue to be generated. There are a number of factors affecting the tariff increases, which include inflation and bulk purchase costs from Rand Water and Eskom. Revenue generation is critical to the financial sustainability for the city, and tariffs play a major role in achieving desired levels of revenue. It is therefore important that all consumers of services honor their obligation towards the city in terms of payment of consumer accounts to ensure that the city is able to generate revenue to continue to render services.